كان يا مكان في قديم الزمان. An American happily married couple decided to visit Libya in their honeymoon. Yeah, it is an imaginary story. For now. The husband wanted to teach his wife some Arabic words before going to Libya, so he said to her, "Do you remember the first time we met? Our relationship just started with me saying hi, and now we are married." Hi is marhaba in Arabic, so we started by saying marhaba, and now we are married. Marhaba and married both start with the same three letters. Now that's a good way to learn some words, the wife said. So our happy couple packed their bags and went to Libya. Their first destination was a city in the western mountain, aka Jabal Nafusa, called Gharian. They went there because the husband was excited to see the famous handmade caves of the city. They met a tour guide who took them to those caves, which are called Biyut Hafr, and started talking about them and Gharian. Gharian is a city in the mountains, and it's famous by its olive trees, its porcelain industry, and its caves. Nearly 500 years ago, Gharianers made these caves and used them as a place to live in. They dug vertically into the mountains to make the house, and then they dug horizontally into this huge hole to make the rooms. But why did they do it? The wife asked. The husband has done his research before coming here, so he answered, "It's because of the weather. The weather in the mountains is too cold in the winter and too hot in the summer, and these caves are always warm." The tour guide was impressed by the husband and asked them to go down to the house. The wife was scared of caves, so as soon as she went down, she started sweating. The tour guide asked her, "كيف حالك?" She didn't understand, and he knew he said it in Arabic, so he said, "How are you?" The smart husband stopped and said, "Okay, here's a new word." He looked at his wife and then said, "So, you're scared of caves, and the first thing someone will say when he sees a scared woman is, 'How are you?' How are you is كيف حالك in Arabic, and كيف is pronounced like cave. So how are you means كيف حالك. كيف حالك. Alright, so that's for cave. What about haluk? Can you find a linking word for that? He said to his wife. The wife said, "Yes, I do." So we're in a cave, and a cave kind of looks like a hole, a locked hole, and we're saying cave haluk. He smiled and then asked the tour guide, "How do we say 'I'm good' and 'you' when someone asks us كيف حالك?" And he answered, "We say بخير وأنت." And as soon as he said that, the wife screamed, "Be careful, ant!" Yes, she was scared of ants too. When she was about to cry, her husband smiled again. He said to her, "You are my inspiration," literally. بخير وأنت, be careful, ant. So now we learned 4 Arabic words in less than a minute. That's awesome, the tour guide said. Awesome was the first word that came to our minds when we saw this beautiful mountain. Can you tell us more about it? The husband said. Jabal Nafusa has a lot of cities, and most of them have Biyut Hafr too, like the ones in Yifrin and the ones in Ar-Riayna. It also has a lot of touristic and historical places, like the Nalut Palace, which was built more than 1,000 years ago as a communal building where the local families could store their grains in times of conflict. There is also the Kabao Palace and Al-Hajj Palace, which were built for the same reason. Jabal Nafusa also has some Romanian landmarks, and in case you don't know, Libya has a great population diversity. Most of the people in Jabal Nafusa aren't Arabs. they're Amazighis, so you can also say Azul fil Lawn instead of Marhaba. The people of Jabal Nafusa played a major role in fighting the Italian occupation 100 years ago, and one of their heroes is Khalifa bin Askar. The three of them were talking while visiting a room after another, and then they got out of the final room and sat in the square in the middle of them. And suddenly, the couple noticed a man flying in the sky with his parachute. Yes, people do skydiving and jump off mountains here, the tour guide said. And by the way, since we are talking about flying, do you know Abbas bin Firnas? Yes, I do, the wife said. He's a Muslim inventor, and he was the first man ever to try flying, and he is basically the founder of the idea of inventing a flying machine. Yes, that's right, the tour guide said. And not just that, Abbas ibn Firnas also devised means of manufacturing colors glass, invented various glass planispheres, and made corrective lenses. He also made an important influence on astronomy in Europe, and some people say that he was also the inventor of the first pen in history. And that was all more than 1,000 years ago, the husband said. Yes, he was born in 810 and died in 887. And by the way, since we are here in Ghirian, you must know that one of the most famous tourist attractions in Ghirian in the past was a mural drawn by the American Clifford Saber, a volunteer American ambulance driver in 1943 during WW2. The mural is called The Lady of Ghirian. The couple smiled, and the wife felt like she is the Lady of Ghirian, and she forgot her fears. The end. And oh, by the way, they ate bazin after that, which is a traditional meal in Ghirian and all Libya. Now we can end with this beautiful picture of some Libyan people outside their Beit Hafr in 1959.